everyone, I'm Courtney and welcome to your practice. Today is a really simple class, just 3 spots to really help your neck tension, congestion, tightness, strain, anything like that. This is also actually really great if you are prone to migraines or headaches, which many of us are. So we are going to use a set of balls. These are yoga tune-up balls in the regular size. I also am actually going to be showing with the medium because they're just a little bit easier to see since these are pretty small. But notice the small size is like pretty small. I would not go bigger than this if you have the option. This is about the size of a tennis ball, so don't go bigger than that if you have the choice. And then we also need a block, so anything similar to a block is totally great. And yeah, this will be fun, and I hope that it's really helpful. Okay, cool. So let's get started. Hello, we're on the ground. So we're going to start off with the 2 balls in their case and your block on the lowest setting. So go ahead and come onto your back, head resting on the block. And then before you go anywhere, just use your fingers, find the base of your skull. It's pretty obvious, right? So there's like the mushy bit of those muscles, and then there's the hard bit of your skull. So we're going to take the balls, place them right underneath the base of the skull, right on those mushy bits, and go ahead and relax your arms down by your sides. You could close your eyes if you like to. You can also just have a nice soft gaze if that feels good. And you're just going to pause here. So try to let your collarbones broaden. Spin your palms so that they face up. And simply start by taking a couple of breaths. And then just notice any difference between right and left side of the neck, right and left sides of the shoulders. Okay, and then really easily, we're just gonna turn the head side to side. This might feel pretty intense, right? And if this is too intense, go ahead and ditch the block underneath and just have the balls underneath the base of your skull. And as tempting as this is gonna feel to stay here for a really long time, having your neck in this position is actually not that great in the long term, and you can overdo it. So we're not going to stay here for a super long time. But go ahead, wiggle side to side. What's funny is that this position of the head, right, if you were to turn yourself upright, this is the head forward and down posture that often causes so many of these problems to start with. But we kind of have to use this position to get into this space that gets really balled up. So you're just going side to side. And then go ahead and turn your head in circles. So like you're drawing a circle with your nose on the wall in front of you or the ceiling. It's going one way. Kind of interesting, this spot is called gallbladder 20 in Chinese medicine, and it's known as the wind pool spot. So this is a great place to dispel any wind condition from the body. And wind is one of the ailments, one of the disharmonies in the body that can happen. And spring is one time that the spring and late summer tend to be times when this kicks up a lot. But so we'll go the other way. I just think that feeling is so addictive, that feeling of the ball like rolling right over the crest of the base of the skull. It's so nice. You can let your jaw be slack. And just one more time in this direction. Great. And then we'll just rock the head, yes and no. And feel free to experiment with this, right? So you can definitely experiment with different size balls. You can experiment with the height of the block or different block sizes. You can not have a block. It really, everybody's body is so different, and everybody's needs are quite unique, even if we have universal patterns that tend to happen. So it is really good to just see what works for you, right? That's like being a yoga student isn't being like a good student who does everything that a teacher says. A good student is somebody who questions everything. So question it. All right, so we'll go up and down, and then go ahead, roll to one side, remove that block, and come back onto your back. Okay, so the blocks or the balls are still in their little case. Once again, you're gonna lift your head. You're gonna place the balls just at the nape of the neck, the base of the neck now. Get your hair out of the way. This is a good one for having your hair up, okay? So again, pause for a moment. Knees are bent, feet are on the ground, feet are about hip distance apart. And then if it feels okay for you, go ahead and lift your hips a little bit, roll a little forward and back. Okay, and for you, this might feel good just to hold still. For other people, once you find your little spot, right, after rolling forward and back, once you find the spot that feels nice and juicy for you, go ahead and reach your arms up. And we'll take the arms alongside the ears and then swim them back around. So we're just making big yoga angels. Okay, so reaching up, swimming around. All right, so we're remembering to breathe this whole time. Right? And go ahead and take your arm circles the other way if you're doing arm circles. You might experiment with like seaweed arms. It's kind of cute, isn't it? All right, and then once again, if you feel comfortable with it, bring your arms by your sides, lift your hips, and you're just gonna roll a little bit down between the shoulder blades. So just going back and forth. Do not roll directly into the curve of the neck. You are rolling the top of the thoracic and the lowest part of the cervical spine. Okay, so from here, you're gonna roll to one side, bring the balls with you. Try to not, strain the neck when you're just like straining to lift your head, and then use your hand to help you lift up, right? The transition's kind of important. I think when we're able to be mindful in everything, then it helps a lot. Okay, I'm gonna spin around. So, why? I don't know. I think that this might just be easier to see. With this, we are going to place one ball. So take it out of your little case and find your collarbone. And so trace your collarbone over to the side. Actually, this is pretty much like right where this strap is hitting me is this nice balled up spots. And this is the attachment point of the pec minor. But we're gonna take that ball and we'll place it right there, so below the collarbone on the mushy bit. Hopefully you can see this okay. I'm gonna just snuggle my block up. So the block is really just bringing the floor up, okay? So go ahead and stretch your arm out and then bend your elbow. And again, we're just gonna kind of floss, moving the arm forward and back. This is such an awkward angle for a camera, but that's okay. Okay, so just flossing forward and back. And like I said, you might feel this in your bicep. But just like gallbladder 20 or these spots on the base of the skull are really great for allergies. They're great for cold. It's great to touch on that if you have a flu and your neck is stiff, or even if your sinuses are really congested, then this is also a really nice spot. This is kind of touching between lung 1 and lung 2. So lung 1 and 2 are really awesome for opening up the lungs. You might notice that your breathing gets a little bit easier. It's particularly good spots if you're struggling with any asthma. So allergy season strugglers. If it kicks up your asthma, this is awesome. Okay, once you go forward and back, then we'll go ahead and just bring the arm out so that the humerus or the upper arm is in line. And then go ahead and press down. So you're trying to pull your arm into the floor, or adducting the arm, right? That's what this muscle does, is it pulls the arms together in front of the body. And then we'll release. So now it's hard to see that I'm pressing. Go ahead and press down. So you're trying to hug arm, hug shoulder into that block. So you're activating pec minor. And then gently release. And we'll just do this 2 more times. So again, pressing down, hand into the floor, forearm to the floor. Breathing. Good. And then one more time. Iyengar called this space the eyes of the heart. So you can imagine that you are helping to open the eyes of the heart. And go ahead and release. All right, and then one last technique, what's called a pin and stretch. So you're going to take the ball, keep it touching the skin, but lifting away from the block so you can actually do this. And then twist the ball, so it's going to kind of pull the skin with you, and then come back down. And you can just rest your arm. You can hang out here passively, breathing into that space. If you're lucky, you'll feel this up into the neck. So the reason why I've included this place is because when pec minor gets really tight, which for a lot of us it does, from typing, from being on the phone, from just any kind of stress situation where we're sort of pulling into the center to protect our center, which is a really natural physical response to threat or perceived threat, then it will pull the head forward and down, right? And it will put strain on the back of the neck, put strain on the sides of the neck, shorten the SCM, or the sternocleidomastoid muscle, the big ropey one on the front of the neck. All right. When you're done there, you can go ahead and release, unwind, and then, be sure to do your second side. So for me, that would be this right side. So just doing the second side. And again, you're going to press down first, move your arm forward and back, and then you'll do a static stretch where you're pressing down and trying to pull in, and then the little pin and stretch. All right, so I hope that really helps. For me, this surefire way to help when my neck is just feeling really stiff and, not nice. So I hope this helps you, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you.